This is going to be an oil change video for a 2015 Ford Expedition. This one happens to be an EL. I doubt it's going to matter whether you have an EL or not. This is for the 3.5 Ecoboost. I'll start off by showing you how I'm going to place the jack stands. So if you want to do a similar position, you can. But you can see where I've got the jack, and then the jack stand I've just got right here. So I'm just resting against the edge here. If I had more room, I'd cradle it differently, but I don't. It's kind of like getting in the way of the jack. So I'll do this on the other side, and then we'll take a peek. Alright, so I've got it up on two jack stands. You can see that there's two rubber panels that'll come into play. There's one on the passenger side, and there's one that's more in the middle. I'll give you a different view if you're kind of more in the center. So passenger side over here, the one that's more in the middle. And the first thing that I'm going to do is move back behind this metal panel, and there's a felt composite panel back there, and I want to remove that to drain the oil. So I'll give you a different view at that from the rear. So here's the view from the rear, and this is that felt composite panel I was talking about. You can see that there's a bolt here, there's one on the other side as well, and then there's two in the front. So if I slide down underneath here, there's the two in the front. Size on that's 8mm, so I'm just going to cheat and use a little impact wrench and just kind of blow those off, and then we'll see what we're working with. So here's the view from the passenger side. I showed the driver's side before. You can see I got both of them on the driver's side off. It's in the same spot in the rear, so there's no magic here, and then it's the same spot up front as well. So we'll take those off. Alright, so with the panel removed, you can see in the front here's where the two retaining bolts were. And you can see that you've got your oil drain there. Size on that is 15mm. So we'll put a wrench on that and start draining. Alright, so there we go. We got started draining. And we'll take a peek at what the oil filter looks like. It's definitely not going to be as easy as this was, that's for sure. I'll do my best to show you. Alright, so we're back up under the front of the truck. We've got the oil pan underneath the center rubber access panel. By looking at where the oil filter is located, that seems to be the one that we're going to need to play with. I'm not sure what the passenger side one is about, but we're definitely going to want to mess with this one. So first step is going to be to remove that. So as we remove the oil filter, the oil has a place to go. And these are just lefty-loosey, about a quarter turn, and they fall out. So for me, this is a new thing. I have a GM background. I ran Suburbans before this. I'm not a brand loyalty guy. I'm a individual truck kind of a guy. I didn't have great luck with the transmissions that I ran in my GMs. I wanted to try a Ford equivalent. So this is my first Ford. My understanding from my research is that this is pretty common for Ford to have these little rubber, access panels, but I gotta say I'm not a huge fan of that. I doubt at 50,000 miles I'll even have these rubber panels under my truck. I mean, they'll probably be missing at that point. So with that off, we'll move forward and take a look at where the oil filter is and go from there. All right, so if you move towards the front of the truck from that access panel that we just removed, you'll see this little felt kind of cover here. It's got your typical style plastic panel retention. But if you slide over towards the driver's side, slide down from that, you'll see 4 of them that are removable. So these are half-turn retention clips, and if you just turn a half-turn lefty-loosey, you'll be able to remove these 3 and 4. And then you'll be able to fold down this corner of the panel. So that tells me that the oil filter must be up inside of there. So I've got a flashlight. I'm going to do my best to show you. It's definitely back there. It's definitely not. It's not a pleasure to work with. So if I stick the camera up in here, I really got to get it way up inside of here to give you a view. You can see the oil filter right there. So what the light is on that corner, so it's a white oil filter. You can see that it's definitely up and in there. I'm holding the camera all the way inside of the hole right now. So as I come out, you kind of see the path that your arm's going to take to get in there. It's quite a reach. It's definitely going to be a blind reach, and if you need to get a strap wrench in there, there's going to be even less room to work. So I'll zoom out the next step here, and that's really the path that your arm is going to take. So we'll get that bad boy cranked off and get it draining, and we'll go from there. All right, well, a little bit of a surprise for me here. Not only does it drain from that access panel, it drains from that little hole over there. So I had to quickly move this. I spilt a little bit of oil. Maybe I can save you a mess. As you move towards driver's side, it's this little hole in this square tray. So oil will also come out of there. Maybe save you a mess there. And I can assure you that it was not fun to get up there and put that oil filter in there. If this is your first one from the factory, you're probably going to need to use a strap wrench. I was able to use my arm. My right arm worked the best. Hope that helps you out. Just hope you're working out. Give her the goose. All right, so just a quick reminder to make sure that the new oil filter that you get does match up with the one that you pulled off. And then another reminder too to dip your finger in some of the oil and wet the new gasket. Don't put it on dry with a dry gasket. So just a quick reminder there if it's your first oil change. Well, got it all back together. The only advice I can give you for getting the new oil filter in is reach up there with your bare hand first and locate where the spindle is with your finger. And you'll just have to fiddle around with it until you get it lined up. It's definitely a flying blind situation, so feel it out with your bare hand, figure out where it is, and try to get that filter on. So I'm at the point now where I'm ready to fill up. Don't forget to do your half turns to lock those 4 plastic retaining clips back in order, and don't forget to put that rubber panel back in. We'll see if it lasts, but so I've got it open to the specifications here. It calls for 6 quarts of 5W30 of either a synthetic blend or a full synthetic. At the price difference between the synthetic blends and the full synthetic, I'm just going with the Dexos one full synthetic. So throw 6 quarts in it, and you're looking good. So the last thing we have to do is reset the oil meter. For my particular truck, and your UI might be different. They might update the electronics year to year. I just arrow up twice, and I can see my oil life. So I'm at 9,500 miles here. I had an oil change at 4,500 free from the dealer. This is the first one that I ran. So it's still reporting 36% life left, and that's 5,000 miles that I put on. So I personally think that's a very optimistic oil life meter. My dad has a Ford. He got an F-150 Ecoboost. He says that he thinks his oil life meter is extremely optimistic as well. So be careful in trusting that. That's kind of up to you what you want to do. I definitely don't trust that. I'm not going to be going over 5,000 miles before an oil change. But what I do like about the UI here, and this is just kind of a tip of the hat to the programmer, whoever worked on this, is it's very intuitive to figure out how to change it. So if your normal view is that you're at miles per hour, you just hit back to look at your different options, and you can scroll down to settings. Right, so I'm just arrowing down to settings, hit enter, advanced settings, enter, and yep, we want to work on the vehicle, so we'll hit that, and then right on the screen there it says oil life reset. So at least to me, I felt that that was pretty intuitive. You know, it seems intuitive. It just tells you right on the screen, hold OK to reset. So to me, that's a pretty intuitive design, easy peasy pumpkin squeezy, and then I just go back to my display mode. So you can see that I'm at 100% oil there, and that's it. You're done with your oil change.